Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever really stopped to think about what truly makes you, well, you? It's way more than just like your favorite color or your go-to snack, right? Today's deep dive is all about identity, what it is, how it's built, and all the surprising, often kind of invisible factors that weave together to create the unique person you are right now.
It's such a fascinating subject. And what's really interesting is that identity isn't this fixed thing, like a set of instructions you get. Think of it more like a dynamic puzzle,
Hmm.
an ever-evolving one. The pieces are constantly being put together, maybe rearranged, sometimes even swapped out over time.
Totally.
And understanding these pieces, how they fit, why they might shift, that can really help you understand yourself and honestly everyone around you a lot better.
Absolutely, yeah. And that understanding is super valuable, especially, in a world packed with different people, different ideas. So, our mission today is to explore this kind of incredible journey of self discovery. We're going to dive into how everything from history, society, your own personal choices, how they all play a part. We'll explore how these influences shape us over time. And yeah, we'll be tossing out some questions for you to think about along with us. Consider it like a thought adventure. So if identity is this awesome puzzle, what are these pieces we're actually talking about? It's definitely not just one thing, is it?
Not at all.
Imagine maybe a giant, intricate web with countless threads all tangled up. Our sources give us a fantastic starting point, highlighting multiple factors that work together.
That's right. Identity isn't formed in a vacuum. It's this living thing, shaped by the interplay of so many forces. Some of the really big ones include your family's expectations, how you were brought up,
Yeah.
your cultural background, traditions, that kind of stuff. Then there's peer influence, your friendships.
Oh, yeah. Huge one for teens.
Definitely. Also, the school and education systems you're in, the language or maybe languages you use every day,
Yeah.
your religious or philosophical beliefs, if you have them, and even your national identity and how you see yourself as like a citizen of the world. Each of these adds its own color, its own texture to your unique identity blend.
Wow, that's quite a list, isn't it? And they're all interacting all the time. So here's where it gets really interesting, thinking about this list and how it applies to your life. Which of these influences do you think has the strongest impact on teenagers and why? Take a moment. Just really consider that. Is it friends? Family? School? Something else? Short pause.
It's a tough one, eh? Because they all feel pretty important, right? And sometimes they pull in different directions.
Indeed, it's rarely just one single thing. It's usually a complex mix, and, the weight of each factor can change a lot as you grow.
Okay, so to bring this whole idea of identity building to life, let's look at a real-world example from the materials we reviewed. We have this case study of a young person named Zahra. Zahra's story is a really wonderful illustration of navigating multiple identities. So she was born in Iran, but now she lives in Canada. At home, she speaks Persian with her family. Normal stuff. But at school, it's English with her friends and teachers.
Right, two different worlds already.
Exactly.
Wow.
And she celebrates both Nowruz, that's the Persian New Year, and she also celebrates Canada Day. And this often leads her to feel sometimes kind of in between these two distinct worlds. Like she's constantly switching languages, but also maybe switching parts of her identity too.
Yeah. I bet loads of you listening, even if you're not balancing, like different countries might feel in between different versions of yourself sometimes. Maybe how you act at home versus how you are with your friends, or school you versus online you. It's actually a really common feeling.
Very common.
So, thinking about Zara again, this brings up a really important question. What challenges and what advantages might someone like her experience when they're balancing more than one culture?
That's a crucial point, yeah. And our sources point to quite a few things. On the challenge side, there can be this feeling of not quite fitting in perfectly anywhere.
Hmm.
You might feel misunderstood by one group or feel like you're always having to explain parts of yourself. It can sometimes lead to this like internal conflict. Which traditions matter most?
Hmm.
Which language do you feel most you're in?
Hmm. That sounds like a lot of pressure. Kind of trying to keep up with different expectations all the time.
It definitely can be. But on the flip side, there are some huge advantages. People like Zara often develop a much broader worldview. They learn to see things from multiple perspectives, which is just such a massive asset in understanding complex stuff. They often have stronger problem-solving skills. They tend to be more adaptable. And of course, being bilingual or multilingual just opens up so many more doors, right? For travel, making friends, even career paths down the line. They literally have more tools in their identity toolbox.
What a great way to put it, a bigger toolbox. Not just living in one world, but getting the richness of several. Okay, let's dive a bit deeper into some of these individual threads in our identity tapestry, starting with something really close to home: family.
Right. Family is often like the first blueprint for who we become. They don't just give us food and shelter. They shape our core values, how we see the entire world, often in ways we don't even realize. They teach us our first language or languages.
Mm.
They pass down traditions, beliefs. They often influence, maybe subtly, maybe not so subtly, our career expectations and choices. Like if you come from a family of doctors, there might be this quiet expectation
Hmm.
or just a strong example that guides you. And crucially, families give us those first models of behavior, how to interact, express
Mm.
emotions, what's considered okay or not okay.
That's a really solid point. Those early lessons really do stick with you, don't they? So, thinking about that, what does this mean for you? In what ways can family expectations maybe clash with your own personal choices? Maybe your family really wants you to do one thing, study something specific, or hang out with certain people, but your heart's kind of pulling you somewhere else entirely. Short pause.
It's such a common experience for teenagers, isn't it? Learning to balance those outside expectations with your own emerging sense of who you are. And if we link this to the bigger picture, family is often the first real gateway to our culture and culture. Gosh, it's so much more than just food and music and holidays.
Right. It's like the air we breathe sometimes. We don't even notice it's there until maybe we step out of it or someone points it out.
Exactly. Our sources really highlight that culture includes shared beliefs, unspoken rules, norms, we call them, and the collective histories that bind a group together. It deeply influences how we see ourselves and definitely how others see us. It shapes our ideas about respect, about gender roles, even what success looks like. For instance, eye contact. In some cultures, looking someone directly in the eye shows respect. In others, it might feel rude or challenging.
Wow, fascinating. So even something that seems small, like eye contact, is cultural.
Precisely. And while culture provides this really strong sense of belonging, connecting you to a wider community shared heritage, it can also sometimes contribute to stereotypes. Others might make assumptions about you based on your cultural background, and those assumptions don't always match who you are as an individual.
That makes total sense. So another thing for you to think about, how does your culture shape the way others see you? And maybe how does it shape how you see yourself? Is there a part of your culture you feel really proud of? Or perhaps one that sometimes feels like a stereotype you have to kind of push back against? Okay, so as we grow up, our world gets way bigger than just the family dinner table, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, friends in school become these massive, like undeniable
Oh,
influences.
absolutely. Peers in schools are particularly powerful forces during the teenage years. Your peer groups, they don't just influence your fashion, though they definitely do that. Think how fast trends whip through a school.
Hmm. Totally. Guilty as charged.
But they also influence the slang you use, your attitudes, maybe towards authority figures, or your thoughts on big social issues.
Oh, I definitely remember trying to fit in with certain groups back in the day, and suddenly my vocabulary like changed overnight. It's like you adopt a whole different persona sometimes.
It's very common, yeah.
Mm.
And beyond friends, teachers, and just the whole school environment play a critical role too. They shape opportunities, introduce you to new values, maybe spark interests or aspirations you never even considered. And what's particularly interesting, something our sources touch on, is how your identity can actually seem to shift depending on the group you're with. You might be the loud, funny one with one group of friends, but maybe the quiet, focused student in a certain class.
That is so true. Okay, question for you listening. Do you act differently with friends compared to how you are at home or at school? Why do you think that happens?
It's pretty common, right? I know I definitely used to have my school self, my home self, and my hanging out at the mall self.
Yeah.
Sometimes those versions of me felt really different.
It's a really natural part of growing up. We're constantly sort of trying on different roles, seeing where we fit, what feels right. It's also a way we navigate different expectations, isn't it? What's
Mhm.
okay with your family might not fly with your friends and vice versa. It's not really about being fake. It's more about adapting to social situations, being socially smart. Right, adapting.
Okay, so from who we're with, let's move to how we communicate. Language. It's not just about talking, is it? There's more to it.
Not at all. Language is way more than just a tool for communication. It's deeply, deeply tied to identity and even how we perceive the world around us. For instance, being bilingual or multilingual, like Zahra,
Yeah.
it can expand your world exponentially. More opportunities, deeper cultural understanding, maybe even better cognitive skills. But as we saw, it can also create challenges like figuring out when to code switch between languages or maybe feeling like you can't fully express yourself perfectly in either one.
I've heard that language can actually influence how we think. Is that really true? It is. Our sources point this out. Language influences thought patterns. Take a language like, say, Finnish or Hungarian.
Mm.
They don't have gendered pronouns like he or she. They use one gender-neutral pronoun for everyone. Now, imagine growing up with that. It could subtly shape how you think about jobs, for instance. If you never hear he's a doctor or she's a nurse, grammatically reinforced all the time, it might make it a bit easier to just see anyone in any role without those built-in gender ideas.
Whoa.
Conversely, losing a heritage language. Maybe your grandparents spoke it, but your parents didn't pass it on. That can sadly mean losing a really vital cultural connection, because language often carries history, traditions, unique ways of understanding the world.
That's a huge idea. Okay, so here's a real challenge question for you. Do you think language shapes how we think, or just how we communicate our thoughts? That's a deep one. Like, does learning a new language actually change a little part of your brain?
Well, the evidence suggests it definitely influences how we frame our thoughts, the nuances we notice and express. It's a powerful shaper, not just a speaker.
Okay, zooming out even further now. Beyond our immediate circles, our country, and the beliefs we hold, these also play a huge role in who we become.
Absolutely. National identity influences a whole range of things. The values a society tends to promote, the opportunities available to people, even our basic rights as citizens. For example, Canada, like we mentioned with Zahra, actively promotes multiculturalism and diversity. That shapes a very specific national identity built around inclusion. Other countries might focus more on national unity, maybe based on shared ancestry or long-held historical traditions.
That sounds like a really interesting difference in focus, and I imagine it impacts people's day-to-day lives quite a bit.
It certainly does. And this gets particularly complex when people migrate. It raises questions for individuals. Do you try to adapt fully to the new national identity, take on new customs, new loyalties? Or do you work hard to maintain your original identity, maybe celebrating traditions from your homeland in your new country? Or find some blend?
So, back to Zara, or someone like her. What are some benefits and maybe challenges of having more than one national identity? Is it just like you get double the holidays, or is it way more complicated?
Huh. While double holidays might sound nice, it's definitely more complex. The benefits can include a really deep appreciation for global diversity, a feeling of being connected to a broader human family. Often, unique skills like being good at diplomacy or cross-cultural communication naturally develop. The challenges, though, can involve navigating dual loyalties, maybe feeling pulled between two places, understanding different legal systems, or sometimes even feeling like a bit of an outsider in both places, depending on the situation. It can be a constant balancing act.
A balancing act, yeah. And speaking of values that guide us, let's talk about beliefs. These are like our internal compasses, right? Guiding us even when no one else is watching.
Indeed. Beliefs, whether they come from religious traditions or they're more philosophical or secular, they fundamentally guide our behavior, our choices. They provide moral frameworks, kind of inner map for right and wrong, helping us make tough decisions, navigate ethical stuff. And these beliefs often create a really powerful sense of community and belonging, whether that's through shared rituals, celebrations, or just a common way of looking at the world.
That sense of belonging, that community,
Mhm.
it's so powerful, isn't it?
It is. But it's also true that beliefs can sometimes be a source of conflict when they differ significantly, especially in a really diverse society like many of us live in today. Think about differing views on holidays, maybe dietary rules or big social issues. Because of this potential for friction, our sources really stress that respecting the diversity of beliefs is absolutely key in a multicultural society. It's about finding common ground while still honoring the differences.
That's such an important point, a vital lesson for all of us, especially right now. So maybe a final reflection for you on this topic. How can different beliefs exist peacefully side by side in the same society? What can we as individuals actually do to help foster that peace and understanding?
Phew. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. From our families giving us that first blueprint, to our languages shaping our thoughts, our friends pulling us into new social worlds, our national identities, our beliefs guiding that internal compass. It's crystal clear that who we are is this beautiful, super complex tapestry woven from many, many different threads.
Indeed, it is. And remember, knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and can apply it. We've seen that identity is shaped by this constant dynamic interplay between all these external influences and, crucially, the personal choices you make every single day. It's not some finished product you arrive at. It's really a lifelong work in progress. Totally. And this isn't just like abstract theory. Our sources even included a really fantastic hands-on activity to help you think about your own identity in a really visual way. It's called an identity mind map.
Yeah, it's a wonderful critical thinking exercise. It really helps you visualize your own personal identity tapestry. To do it, you'd simply draw a circle, maybe in your notebook, piece of paper, write "my identity" inside. Easy. Then, radiating out from that center circle, you add spokes for all the factors we talked about: family, culture, language, friends, beliefs, country. And for each of those factors, you can jot down both the positive influences you feel you've gotten and maybe any challenges or conflicts you've had to navigate related to that factor. You could even add little symbols or drawings that represent your experiences, make it really personal. It's like a snapshot of who you are right now.
What a cool way to actually see your own unique blend of influences. Really brings it all together, doesn't it? Okay. And for a final thought for you to chew on, something to maybe build on that mind map as you reflect later. Which factor from all the ones we discussed today do you think has changed the most for you in, say, the last 3 years, and why? What shifted for you? What do you think caused that change?
There's always more to learn about ourselves and the world around us. And understanding these layers within ourselves and seeing them in others too, it just helps us navigate the world with so much more empathy, more insight, maybe even more confidence. So keep exploring that incredible evolving puzzle that is you.
Fantastic advice to end on. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into what shapes your identity. We'll catch you next time. Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever really stopped to